29-year-old cab driver Steve Stover is suing 24-year-old waitress Angela Morton and her friend, 23-year-old sales agent Jessica Shibley, for false prosecution. They claim Steve was arrested because he fractured Jessica's cheekbone when he hit her with a credit card machine.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 89 on the calendar in the matter of Stover versus Morton Shibley. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
You're Mr. Stover.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's April?
My cousin right there.
Could you step up, April, because you're very much involved with this sad tale that I really tried very hard to organize with limited success. But from what I gather, you and your cousin were out for an evening.
Me, my cousin, and my friend Tammy there.
And you were at some sort of a club?
Yes, ma'am.
And these two ladies were also trying to get into the club?
Yes, ma'am.
And according to you, something happened between April and these two young ladies. They thought she said something untoward to them, or that she smiled and said they couldn't get in and we did. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So after the club was over, you went back to April's house?
Yes.
And when you got to April's house, you found these two ladies there, waiting for her.
Yes, ma'am. I got there first, and they were setting up the street waiting.
Did you have a conversation with them?
When I pulled in the driveway, they pulled down, and yes, I had a conversation with them.
What did you say to them, and what did they say to you?
It was just a casual conversation. They asked me where April was and when she'd be home, and told them that she was on her way. She'd went to go get pizza.
And after April came home, that's when all this fracas started. And your lawsuit, Mr. Stover, says that one of these two young ladies, that's Angela. Which one is Angela?
I am.
That Angela broke the window on your car with her shoe.
Yes.
She acknowledges that she did that. She says she was defending herself. She was aiming for you and you ducked. That's your defense.
Well, yes.
That's what I read here. You also claim that Jessica, that's you,
Yes, ma'am.
had you arrested for assault, as a result of which you had lost earnings, you drive a cab, couldn't drive for 4 months.
Yes, ma'am. It was a malicious wounding, which was a felony. You know.
And those charges were ultimately dismissed.
The first charges were, then they appealed it to a higher charge, aggravated malicious wounding, which it was a worse 20 years to life.
And was that also dismissed?
Yes, ma'am.
After a trial?
Yes, ma'am.
So there was a full trial?
There was a full trial.
Where you testified and she testified?
Yes.
So you are suing Jessica for having you falsely arrested and loss of income. She is counterclaiming because she says that you assaulted her with some sort of a machine that takes credit cards, imprints.
Yes, ma'am. I have that with me.
You acknowledge that you did, in fact, hit her with that.
Yes, ma'am. It's self-defense.
Okay, so that's what the case is about. So let's get back to the girls are there waiting for April. April has her pizza and comes back to the house. Okay? What is the very next thing that happened? You want to tell me, April?
Jessica called me over to her car. So I walked over to her car. And
You had known her from before that evening?
Yeah. As far as I knew, we were friends. We had talked every time we'd seen each other out. We had talked to each other.
Okay. So she called you over to her car?
Yes. I walked over to her car, asked her what was going on. As soon as I did that, she reached out, grabbed me by the back of my hair, twisted me, and had me upside down in her car. The top of my head was in her lap.
Okay. Then what happened?
I asked her what was going on. She said I was talking or dancing with her boyfriend, which was not true. We were there maybe 10 minutes at that club.
She still got you in the car?
She has me in this underneath with my head.
So you're talking?
Yeah, I was trying to talk nice and calm to her, and I thought we were friends at that time,
Okay, well, clearly at that time she didn't want to be your friend.
Evidently not.
So what happened?
I just kept asking her why she was doing it, and I yelled for Steve. I was like, Steve, come over here and tell her what we did. So Steve eventually comes over.
And what happened, Steve, when you walked over?
Well, when she first hollered for me, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't realize the seriousness of it. And then I eventually went over there and seen what was going on. And we both were trying to reason with Jessica. We told her whatever we did, if we laughed at you, we were sorry. And that's when Angie got out of the other side.
Who was driving?
Angie.
Go ahead.
And she got out, and when she come out, she had a lock blade knife, and she brandished it to Brad and myself. And it pretty much scared us right bad. Then she got back in the driver's side, and as far as I could see, she folded the knife up and put it in the middle console. So that's when I was worried for her, because the way her head was in the car, you know, I was...
Her head was still in the car?
Yes, her head was still in... I was thinking the worst, you know, she could have got cut or anything. So I did what I had to do. I beat down on Jessica's arms and got April's hair loose. And she fell back onto the ground. Then they got mad because I'd got her loose. They chased me to my truck. Jessica was first chasing me, and I was running to my truck trying to get to the phone so I could call the police. And I didn't know who had the knife at the time. So I used to work for a frozen food company selling frozen food, so I had a credit card machine. And I grabbed the first thing I could out of my truck, and I've got the credit card machine here if you'd like to see it.
I would.
Okay. This is the credit.
Gotcha.
That's the credit card machine. I grabbed it out of the truck. I swung it around just wildly, not knowing, just trying to protect myself because I thought she had the knife with her. I didn't know who had the knife. That's when she got flattened on the ground, and then
Who got flattened?
Jessica knocked her down.
Got flattened.
I got into the truck. And Angie was still on her way to the truck. I locked the door. I was on the phone with the state police, and that's when she took this shoe and smashed the side window out of my truck. It shattered it. And it's like they ran off. They said they were going to get reinforcements. I was on the phone with the state police. They were connecting me with the Roanoke City police.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I got hit as soon as I stepped in the grass.
Why did you step in the grass for? Why didn't you stay in the car?
I got out to check on her. That my fault.
Cost your broken face. That sometimes happens to bullies. Bullies sometimes get the short end of the stick.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Stover says he was acting in self-defense when he hit Jessica Shibley in the face with a credit card machine. He claims that Jessica had him falsely prosecuted. Jessica is countersuing for her injuries.
Now, as a result of this, Jessica, you suffered some very serious injury.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you suffered this serious injury, you were right near his truck.
Actually, I just stepped out of the car.
You were right near his truck.
Well, about a car length away, yes, ma'am.
Well, let's go back a little bit. What were you two ladies doing going to her house?
We did go to her house.
For what?
To question her about what had happened at the bar. We were not even in the bar.
What do you mean question her?
Well,
what does that mean, question her?
They had made some comments that upset me, so I went to
What
ask
kind
them
of
about
comments?
it. Something about us not being able to get in. They thought that was really funny.
So they laughed at you
Yes, ma'am.
that you couldn't get into the club and they did.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you went to question them about.
Yes, ma'am.
Where had you been before that evening?
We had just been out and about.
What do you mean out and about? What does that mean out and
We had
about?
been downtown. In
Downtown
our
where?
local places where we live, downtown Roanoke. Some different nightclubs and things down there.
All right, so you'd been to some clubs that evening.
Yes, ma'am.
How many clubs had you been to that evening?
We just rode, we didn't even go in one downtown. We had stopped at a little place on Winton Road before we proceeded to go to the one they were at.
Okay. So then you go to April's house to discuss with her,
Yes, ma'am.
her laughing at you.
Yes, ma'am.
And who grabbed her in a headlock?
She wasn't in a headlock.
Who grabbed her in a headlock
I
and grabbed her
by
hair?
the back of the hair after she stuck her head in the car.
She stuck her head in the car
Yes,
to talk to you.
When she come to the car, she stuck her head in the car.
And what did she say?
She kind of basically asked me what I wanted, and that's when
Okay,
I did grab
so
her
she-
by the back of the head.
You grabbed her by the back of the hair. If you're sitting in the car and grabbed her by the back of the hair, then her head's in the car.
Yes, ma'am.
You have no right to do that.
You're right.
That started all the trouble.
Yeah.
Ended up you got your face bashed in.
Yes, ma'am.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
You think you deserve to get paid for that?
I don't deserve to have to pay him.
Why not?
I never laid a hand on him.
You started it. Julie, you started it. You want to show me the picture so that I can see just how dumb you are? Is your cheekbone fractured?
Broken.
Broken. Fractured means broken.
Yeah.
Broken. You had surgery?
Yes, ma'am.
That's pretty bad. What kind of knife was there?
There was no.
Don't tell me there was no knife. I don't want to hear there was no knife. Do you understand? I don't want to hear there was no knife. Now, it could have been a little knife. It could have been one of those little red knives. What do they call those? Swiss Army knives. You know.
I never held a knife. I never seen a knife.
Yeah.
And that is after my surgery. The police would not release the other pictures before the thing.
Oh, I'm sure they were terrible.
Yes.
Who do you have to blame for that?
Steve?
No! You! He was protecting his cousin.
His cousin was in the house when I had gotten hit. Angela was out of
Just
the
a
car.
minute. If her cousin was in the house,
After
and you
this
would come
happened-
to speak, listen to me. If she had run into the house because her head got loose, right? And you had finished your conversation with her,
Yes, ma'am.
what were you doing out of the car?
Because as I looked over to leave Angela, she was gone out of the car. I stepped out of the car to check on her, and that's
What do you
when
mean check on her? What was she doing out of the car?
I have no idea. All I know, as it was going on, they were yelling about guns and everything. So I look over and she's gone. I get out to make sure she's okay, and that's when I got hit. No one chased anyone. I got hit as soon as I stepped in the grass.
Why did you step in the grass for? Why didn't you stay in the car?
I got out to check on her. That's my
That
fault for
caused
being
your
a
broken
friend.
face. You started this trouble. I believe him when he says there was a knife in the console of the car, that he had seen it. Oh, I believe that. So your counterclaim is dismissed. Whatever bills you had for your face, take care of them. You went over there to cause trouble that evening. There's no question in my mind that you did. And you got it. You got more trouble than you bargained for. Well, that sometimes happens to bullies. Bullies sometimes get the short end of the stick.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I didn't smash his window in. I threw my shoe.
You told me in your answer, madam, that you were aiming for him.
No, I threw my shoe at him, and it hit
Right. What word didn't you understand that I said?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Stover is suing Angela Morton and Jessica Shibley for having him falsely prosecuted and for smashing his windshield.
So the police were called, right?
Yes, ma'am.
When were you stopped?
The police never come to us. We went up the street, which my mother lives 3 houses up the street from this. We went to another friend's house, and she called the ambulance. The ambulance come, the police come. I went straight to emergency room.
And what'd you break his window for?
I broke his window because he was trying to leave, and she was laying on the ground, and I was scared, so I just threw my shoe. I wasn't running up to his truck, and I didn't smash his window in. I threw my shoe.
You told me in your answer, madam, that you were aiming for him.
No, I threw my shoe at him, and it hit
Right. That's
his
what you
truck.
said. What word didn't you understand that I said? You said in your answer, I was aiming for him, and he ducked, and I hit the window.
Yes.
Why?
Because she was laying on the ground. I didn't know what he was going back in his truck to get, if he was going to hit me.
What were you doing out of your car?
I was out of my car because they were screaming stuff. I didn't want them to run up on me and hit me.
They weren't running anywhere. She was in the house, according to your friend, and he had walked away. So what did you get out of your car for?
I got out of my car because him and Brad were hollering stuff.
And you didn't like that they were hollering stuff. You have
No, I didn't know
Did you
what
ever
they
hear
were going to
sticks
do.
and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me?
I didn't know what they were going to do. I didn't want to be sitting
Well,
in the
if you
car
don't know what they're
anymore.
going to do, madam, then you get in your car and you go away. You don't get out of your car to confront them, especially when you've been the aggressor. You don't get out of your car. You stay in your car, and you go to her mother's house, which is 3 houses away. So you were arrested.
Yes, ma'am. I was running. After I got my cousin loose, we all scattered. And we were running to get away from the trouble. They chased me to the truck.
I believe that they chased you to the truck. Oh, I believe that they chased you to the truck. So you were in fact arrested.
Yes, I was.
How long were you incarcerated?
I explained the story, what happened to the magistrate at the time, and he let me out on my own recognizance.
And why do you say you lost earnings?
Okay, originally, the first charge, when it was dismissed, they brought up new charges and made it aggravated malicious wounding, and was a felony. And the city of Roanoke will not allow you, even though I hadn't been convicted, they will not allow me to have my cab license.
Now let me ask you this question. How many witnesses testified at the criminal trial?
Myself, April, Tammy, and Brad.
Tammy, you were there?
Yes, ma'am.
Step up here, please. Do you know these two young ladies?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see Jessica get hit in the face?
Yes, ma'am. I saw everything.
Saw everything?
Yes, ma'am. I was standing right there when everything happened.
I would like you to tell me how close Jessica was to the truck when she got hit in the face.
She was at the door to the truck because Steve reached in and he turned around and Jessica was there because they both ran past me to get to the truck. I was standing next to the car when everybody jumped out.
She wasn't a truck length away.
No.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Now, did you see Steve run to the truck?
I saw Steve run to the truck because April went flying. Steve immediately ran to the truck past me, right next to me. Jessica jumped out of the car, ran past me.
She jumped out of the...
She came barreling out of the car. I mean, she jumped out of the car.
How far did she have to run to get to the truck?
About a car and a half length.
But she was right behind him.
She was right behind him.
And where was Angela at this time?
Angela was on the other side of the car, and she jumped out of the car at the same time Jessica did.
Did she run up behind Jessica?
She was at the door as soon as Steve hit Jessica. Steve jumped in the car, locked the window. Angela was right there at the truck and smashed the window.
I have all the receipts also for a rental car.
No, I don't need anything. You're suing the defendants, both defendants, for $5,000. You're claiming that as a result of their actions, you were arrested, you had to go through 2 trials. Were you given a public defender or did you have to hire a lawyer?
I got a public defender.
And you went through how many days of trial?
The latter half of the trial lasted from about 12:30 in the afternoon to 6 in the evening, and then it was held over. The judge said he would make his decision. He was going to read over all the paperwork, and I had to come back the 26th.
How many witnesses did you have at the trial?
1. Just 1.
Evidently the judge didn't believe you. Me neither. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaims dismissed. That's all.
All right, now this is case number 121 on the calendar in the matter of Wells versus Smith. Parties have been sworn in. Judge, you may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mrs. Wells, is this your daughter?
Yes.
Your first name is?
Connie.
Connie, you were one of a twin.
Yes, I was.
And your twin sister died.
Yes.
What was her name?
Carolyn.
When did she pass?
April the 16th.
Mr. Smith, you lived with Carolyn for 17 years.
Yes, I did.
You never married.
No, we didn't.
Is there any reason that you never married?
Yes, we discussed getting married, but for various reasons, mainly monetary reasons, we kept putting it off.
She had a kidney condition?
She was a diabetic. She had kidney failure.
And she died without a will. And the only monetary property that she had was an insurance policy. And there were 2 beneficiaries on the insurance policy, her mother and Mr. Smith.
Yes.
How much was that insurance policy?
42.
It was for $44,000. The money was divided equally between Dolores Wells and myself.
Okay. It is your claim that Mr. Smith has property that belongs to your sister and your daughter that should rightfully be yours.
Well, actually, he has pictures of me and her as children, 7 months old baby pictures that I could never get again. And he has
Okay, just 1 second. Do you have any objection giving her twin the pictures of the 2 of them as
None
children?
whatsoever.
Fine, we've just taken care of the pictures. What else?
Well, actually, I just want her personal belongings.
Just no. Personal belongings is very, very nebulous. You tell me exactly what it is that you think you are entitled to.
I think I'm entitled to her driving license plus a social security number card.
Why would you want that? Just because for sentimental reasons?
No, it's due to the fact because Mr. Smith refused to let me have anything converted of what she had, and he changed locks, wouldn't even, see, I was there, and I was the one that was taking care of her. I wouldn't even got this back, which is mine. I let her use my ring to go on vacation 1 year, and if I hadn't got it during the process of being there, I wouldn't have been able to get my ring because he refused to even invite us over to the house to get anything.
Well, it depends upon what you wanted to get. You have any problem giving her mother her Social Security card?
No, I don't.
And her driver's license?
No, I don't.
Fine. Those things you can have along with the pictures. What else?
Actually, we want all her personal things.
You keep saying all her personal things.
She had a 1,000 movie collection tape. She had
just a
albums.
second. No, but just a second. Now you're talking different story. Now you're not talking sentimental things. Now you're talking things that are worth money. These two people lived together for 17 years.
He lived on her, Your Honor.
Whether he lived on her or not, this is the person your sister chose to live with. You just can't say, I want property. I want all her property.
Okay, my problem is, okay, Judge, this man has a double life he's been living. All of a sudden, he went from being a loving person to a person that was vindictive and treating my sister like dog poo.
Miss Wells, let me explain something to you. Nobody looks into somebody else's bedroom.
We were there.
You or your mother, your sister was an adult. She chose this man for 17 years, longer than most marriages. The fact that she is gone now doesn't give you license to look into their relationship and say, I don't like it. Doesn't give you license to do that. It's a very foolish thing for you to do. Sometimes dealing with death, it's easier to be angry with someone, to vent it in anger than to feel the pain that somebody died. So it's very easy to be angry with this man rather than feeling the sadness of your sister's passing. That happens. It's a very natural thing, but it's a very unhealthy thing. So the things that these two people accumulated, irrespective of whose money paid for it, he has in his possession in his home. There are certain personal effects that I can understand you and your mother may want.
Well, he told me that I can have all her clothes. Okay, I'm the only one that can fit her clothes, but I mean, he hasn't brought all of her clothes to me. He brought a couple of little items, maybe a jacket or something, but my sister has a wardrobe.
Do you have any clothes?
Yes, Your Honor. I took 5 bags of clothing and a box of shoes and other personal effects of Carolyn to them, and Connie told me not to bring anything else because they didn't have any room.
When did you do that, Mr. Smith?
I did that about a month ago or more. And
is that true?
It's true, but...
All right, that's all. I don't want to hear but. So he did bring over clothing and
brought
shoes.
A box of clothes and some material.
No, he said 5 bags of clothing.
It wasn't 5. He brought a bag of clothing, he brought a bag of material, and he bought the old raggedy shoes that she wore when she died.
Come on. You're talking $5,000 here. $5,000 doesn't fit old clothes. What else do you want?
My sister had stuff she never wore.
Listen to me.
Well, I want her albums.
You can't have her albums.
He already told me I can have them.
Then he'll give them to you. I'm not awarding you money for them. What?
May I? She also had cash in her savings account. She just had got her income tax. It was $1,500 that she put in her savings, plus she had $200 worth of quarters, which was in their bedroom. And when I went there to look in there, they was not there.
What did you go in there to look in there for?
I was sleeping in there.
What did you go in their room to
and
look in their room?
And she sent me in there to get medication and stuff.
What did you go and look at her quarters for?
Because I don't want
This
to
is a couple.
Okay.
This is a couple.
All right.
He didn't treat her like
That's
they were a
not
couple.
for you to say, madam.
Okay.
That is not for you to say. Your sister lived with him. For whatever it was, they brought each other a certain amount of pleasure and comfort. Otherwise, your sister wouldn't have stayed. Now that she's not here anymore, it's not the time for you to have bad feelings with this man.
We have not treated this man bad at all. We haven't even called him or nothing.
Just a minute. Did you want to go into his house and take out property that you thought you were entitled to?
Well, I
no.
thought I was
The answer is either yes or no.
Yes, I did.
Well, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. For all intents and purposes, this was a couple of a very, very long-standing relationship. Where the heck do you come off going into their home to take property that you believe is yours?
He just had a private life.
That's not your business.
He has a problem coming out of the closet. And
listen, I don't want to hear that, Miss Wells. I'm totally disinterested in it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He beat her up. Then she couldn't walk for 3 months. Then she died right after that.
You're talking about things. How will that make your deceased sister feel better?
And later today,
we were all playing hide and go seek, and I tried to push the door open.
And you must have pushed it pretty hard. The door on his house got broken.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Connie Wells and her mother Dolores Wells say Malcolm Smith won't return the belongings of Connie's deceased sister. Malcolm says he's given the Wells everything that was hers.
You're not paying attention to me.
I'm
saying to you, get over it. Get over the anger. Your sister is gone.
This man,
you want her?
My sister, before she could not even walk anymore, he beat her up. Then she couldn't walk for 3 months. Then she died right after that. We don't know what he did to her.
Listen, you're talking about things.
See, this
you're
man,
talking about, and you're not even talking about that because you're not suing him for it. I'm speaking. You're not even talking about things. You're suing him, not for the things. You're talking about suing him for $5,000. How will that make your deceased sister feel better?
Only reason we sued him is because he brought us Pampers and bed sheets that a week after my sister died, and he could have threw that stuff away, but he brought it just to be funny.
And plus he know where I live. It was a letter addressed to me that came to his house. He opened it. This is it right here, y'all.
Let me say it. Was this all before or after you tried to get into the house when he changed the locks?
We haven't tried to get in the house. He changed it the moment she died.
Okay.
He bought a new car, you know, and
Carolyn's. Just a second. This is Carolyn's disability check, the last one for 4 days. So they said the last one goes to the next of kin. Fill out and sign the back for Carolyn's last check. What does that mean? Did he send you the check?
No. He sent her the paper to fill out
what he
that
said.
she had to send to the unemployment office or the disability office. That was inside the letter that he sent to my mother.
Fine. So did she send the papers back?
Yeah.
But I haven't got no information from
Just a second. Fine. That's not his fault. He sent you the form, and he told you what to do on the form.
He
said
her
fill
letter.
it out and sign it and send it back for Carolyn's last check. What's wrong with that?
The letter that came to my mother was in her name, her address. It wasn't his to open like he did.
The letter that she's referring to was addressed to Carolyn Wells, to our address. And I opened to look at it to see what it was. When I realized what it was, I wrote that little note and mailed it to her. And I don't see nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing wrong with it, Mr. Smith. Will you see to it that the plaintiffs get any baby pictures?
I
Go
sure
through the
will.
baby pictures. Her mother would like her driver's license for whatever reason and her Social Security card. Is there anything else that you have in the house that you believe that they would want that you are prepared to give them?
I'm prepared to give Connie record albums, like she said.
Fine.
They are already boxed and ready to go, and more clothes of Carolyn and personal effects.
What personal effects?
Like jewelry, cosmetics, female personal effects.
Okay.
I still don't feel like it's fair because he's picking out what he wants to give
You
up.
cannot go into this man's house and pick and choose from his things what you
thank
want.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's our excuse. You may step out.
Oh, you guys are so lucky I didn't get up there. This man here, okay? This man here has been real physical with my sister when she could not walk, okay? And he's been a bum.
I think the motivation was behind Carolyn's life insurance, that the fact that Connie Wells was not on it, her twin sister, and her mother and myself was.
And now the next case.
All parties on Terry versus Ocasio. Step forward, please.
43-year-old electrician Steve Terry says Tanya Ocasio's 13-year-old son, Ricky Hill, damaged a door to his home.
What's your first name, sir?
Ricky?
Step up here, Ricky. You're his mother.
Yes.
You weren't there.
No.
Have a seat. You're his father.
Yes, ma'am.
You weren't there.
Correct.
Have a seat. Step up here. What's your first name?
Steven?
Okay. How old are you, Ricky?
13.
How do you know the plaintiff?
We've been friends for a couple of years.
But there came a time a couple of years ago where you weren't as good friends, is that right?
A few times, yes.
Problems over some stolen property from his house?
Yes.
He said that he thought that you had taken some property from his house. Is that right?
Yes.
And after that time, did you still remain good friends?
Yes, pretty good friends.
Were you allowed in his house?
No, his dad didn't let me in his house.
That was after the incident where things were taken out of the house, is that right?
Yes.
Something happened with the door to his house, which is what this case is about. That the door on his house got broken.
Yes.
Now I want you to tell me what happened.
We were all playing hide and go seek.
Who was playing?
Me, Steven, my little brother, and one of Steven's friends, Nick. And we'd stopped because everybody got tired. It was time, and Nick was going to go home in 20 minutes. My pager was inside his house. I'd asked them to keep it earlier inside his house. And they were going in, and then I was going to go in with them and get it, and they ran in front of me and shut the door. And I tried to push the door open, and it went open, and they tried to push it back, and it slammed up against the side of the wood on the house, and it just cracked the door.
And you must have pushed it pretty hard.
Or my pager was on top of his refrigerator.
How do you know it was on top of the refrigerator? Had you been in the house?
I saw him put it on there.
Where were you when you saw him put it on top of the refrigerator?
On the side door, on the steps, and the refrigerator's near it.
So you didn't go into the house?
No.
Because you know you're not allowed in the house?
Yes.
Did you tell him, I just want my pager?
Yes.
And what did he say?
They really didn't say anything. They were just saying keep him out. And
because he's not allowed to be in here.
I don't know. I think they were playing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did your little brother have your pager?
Yes.
So what were you doing trying to get into the house?
They gave the pager to him after the door was broken.
Are you sure about that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Steve Terry says 13-year-old Ricky Hill damaged his door while playing with his son, Steve Jr.
Go over there.
Watch your step.
All right, Stephen. Let's see what happened.
Well, we just got done playing hide and go seek, and before that happened, we put his pager in the house.
How did that happen? That you put his pager in the house?
Well, he said he don't want it to get broken when he was hiding or something, so I put it on top of the refrigerator. We played, everybody got tired of playing, and so he asked for his pager back, and I said, hold on, I'll go get it. And so I went to get it, and then I thought, well, if I open the door, he's going to try to get in. And so finally, I took it to the front door to give it to him.
Why didn't you just get his pager from the kitchen where it was and bring it outside?
Because I thought he might try to come in when I opened the door.
What would make you, just a minute, what would make you think that? He didn't try to get in when you put the pager inside, did he?
No.
So what made you think that he was going to try to get into your house when he wanted to get the pager?
I'm not sure, I just guess I thought that. So I gave it to the little brother at the front door.
And?
I'm not sure from there.
What do you mean you're not sure from there? The door got broken. How did the door get broken?
I don't know. Nick, he was on the side door and I was at the front door, so.
Which door got broken?
The side.
And you weren't there?
Not at the side door. I was at the front door.
Step down. Did your little brother have your pager?
Yes.
So he had gotten your pager already?
Yes.
So what were you doing trying to get into the house?
They gave the pager to him after the door was broken.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Stephen, do you think that there was a lot of playing around here? Think you were all...
I'd probably say yes about that.
I think so too. Now, who was at the side door when the side door got broken?
My friend, Nick.
So you weren't there?
No.
So you don't know who was pushing and shoving, right?
Right.
So, wouldn't you say that both of you were responsible for that? Right? Would you step up, please? Is your last name Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Terry, you were not at home that day, is that right?
That's correct.
You have pictures for me to show me the door?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see them. Do you have estimates on the door?
Yes.
Looks like $710, is that right?
Yes.
You understand that these boys were playing,
Yes, I did.
and it sort of got out of hand.
Yes.
There was a lot of pushing and shoving, and he was partially responsible. But so was a third boy who was in the back. So everybody was sort of involved in it, and your son is very honest that he wasn't at the back door. He can't tell me what happened at the side door. The defendant is mostly honest.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Play around, sometimes things get broken. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Stephen, the door was already broke prior to any of this happening at all. He's
Yeah, but he broke it more.
He wanted me to pay the entire thing.
Well, now
because he's remodeling.
But
his
now
home.
you're not going to pay the entire thing. You're only going to pay $236, which you offered to pay at the beginning, correct?
Correct.
Good. It was the right thing to happen, but first you had to get all the facts.
Right.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $236, that's all.
This is case number 153 on the calendar in the matter of Potts versus Fields. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
All right. Miss Potts, the defendant is your nephew. That's about all I'm sure of when I looked at these papers. And you live in one of his houses.
Yes.
Other than that, I can't figure out why you believe he owes you money. So why don't you explain this business deal that you had with him?
Okay, at the time, I didn't consider it a business deal. The money came in much later. Everybody in the family knew Norvell had a house in Victorville. He needed someone to move in the house because he couldn't afford 2 mortgages. He had just purchased another home. So he asked us if we could move in his house.
When?
We moved about the middle of April.
What year?
Last year, in '99.
Okay, so you moved into the house that you thought belonged to him. Go.
We thought belonged to him, yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. After we moved in the house, we took our time because we wasn't pressured to move out of our home. We had filed a Chapter 7. So we wasn't really pressured. We had it up for sale. We moved into the home in Victorville. As we got comfortable, my husband was paying Norvell $1,000 a month. I would ask my husband, get a receipt. But he was comfortable. That's his sister's son. Oh, that's my nephew. You know, that's my nephew. I had a conversation with one of Norvell's girlfriends over the phone who told me that the house that we had moved in under the influence that it was Norvell's wasn't Norvell's house. It was his sister's house who had deceased the following year, the year before we moved into the house. I don't realize we done moved in a house that's not Norvell. He had told us during those months that we can have the house. He didn't want it, you know, to just take over the mortgage. And later on he would quick deed the house over to me or whatever. My husband confronted Norvell about the conversation that I had with his girlfriend, that the house was in foreclosure. And so Norvell denied the house being in foreclosure. As time went on, my husband said, well, I'm gonna start paying the mortgage direct to the mortgage company and stop giving it to you. Well, then Norvell came up to me. He says he was in some trouble. We found out he was in trouble with the law. He had another house prior to the house that we were living in. He needed to get out of his name. He said, Auntie, I have some property I need to get out of my name because I'm in trouble with the law and I need to get this property out of my name or they're going to take it. So he said, well, can you buy the house from me and get a loan on the house because I need the money for a lawyer. He said, and after I get all that straightened out, we'll do the paperwork for the house you're living in. I didn't want the house that he wanted in my name. I wanted the house that I was living in with my family. I have 3 daughters, and I don't like moving. It's very hard. So,
did you buy the house from him?
Yes, I did.
So that house that you don't want is now in your name?
Right. I only did it to help him.
Just a second. And you gave that money?
Yes, ma'am.
To him?
Yes, ma'am.
But now you own that house?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Go ahead.
So when December came, I have a copy of that check that I directed deposit straight to Norvell's account. I deposited that whole check in Norvell's account.
And in exchange for that, you got a house?
Yes, ma'am.
So, go ahead.
Okay. So I started telling Norvell, when you gonna put this house in my name? Because I still kind of gave him control of the property that he put in my name. I didn't really take control of it. Because he had a tenant living in the house.
What does it make? It's in your name.
Yeah.
I got a second loan on that house once it was in my name.
What money do you think he owes you?
He owes me $14,957.
So why are you suing him for $5,000?
Because I had to bring him to a small claims court. I'd rather get the 5 than get nothing.
That's ridiculous.
Yes, it is, ma'am.
No, that's ridiculous.
I'd rather get $5,000. I'm not going to give my money out of him anyway because he's finna go to jail next month.
Yeah, well, why did you enter into this deal with him
I found all this out later.
Why did you enter into this deal with him at the beginning? If you knew he had to get a house out of his name, that he was in trouble, and you thought you were going to get not only that house, but the house you were living in for just paying rent, I don't understand
No, I never had any intentions on the first house. I only was interested in the house that I was living in.
Then you made a very bad deal. All right, Mr.
Yes,
Fields.
I did.
You want to explain this deal to me, if you can? I still don't understand her deal.
I don't understand it either. But basically what's going on is they're very upset because I'm a victim of my home. And ever since then, you know, I got a tape with her calling my house, leaving me terrible messages and things like that, cussing me out.
Mr. Fields, did you sell them another house?
Yes, I sold them a house.
For how much money?
$93,000.
That was the sale price?
No, it was $100,000. Sale price was $100,000. They loan now is $93,000.
And they put down $7,000.
Well, they didn't put up anything. I covered everything.
Explain that to me, sir.
They didn't come up with no money. Out of the equity I had in the home, I covered the down payment for the home.
Did your aunt give you $14,000?
She did deposit a check in my account for $14,000, yes.
What's that for?
Well, she took a second out to give me the money.
For what?
For the home. Because they didn't come up with any other money for the home.
Okay. How much is this house worth?
Right now, I have no idea because it's burnt down.
Did you have insurance on it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Good.
Insurance fully covered it.
How much was the insurance policy on the house?
$93,000.
And the contents?
I'm not sure, ma'am.
What do you mean?
My sister...
your sister knows? How much
my
was the
sister
contents
knows,
of the
ma'am.
house?
The personal property inside the house was valued at $23,000, but the insurance is only going to pay $16,000.
16 plus 93. Is that right?
Right.
So, $109,000. Now, how much of a mortgage do you have on this house?
$903.
No.
Will
somebody come up here who knows numbers, who understands this, please? Somebody come up here, fast! I'm getting irritated. This whole nonsense.
She owes $93,000.
She owes $93,000. So she is ending up with $16,000 in cash in her hand, right?
Actually, no. She'll get less than that because Norvell sent some kind of claims adjuster to Pam. She signed an agreement for him to get 10% of the total amount of recovery he made.
All right, so how did the house burn down?
I have it.
How did the house burn down?
One of the lady's children threw a burnt towel or something in a trash can.
Norvell has been contacting the insurance agency alleging that Pamela is committing insurance fraud. So the house is not being restarted or nothing is happening. Everything is stopped.
Let me explain something to you. I don't care. Sounds to me like you were all in a little conspiracy here. Everybody was in a little conspiracy to try to defraud somebody. I don't know whether it was each other, the federal government, the state government, the insurance company, but I certainly, in the brief period of time that I have to deal with this case, I'm not going to be able to figure it out. All I know is a house that stood for a very long time all of a sudden burned down and somebody's going to come away with some money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What are you scheduled to be incarcerated for, sir?
Income tax checks fraud.
And you took the checks?
No, they took it. We split the money.
And later today.
Well, we didn't get along very well. But at the end of the trip, I asked him for my money and he told me to go to hell.
It's difficult enough traveling with your mate. Traveling with a stranger is cuckoo.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Pamela Potts says she was scammed by her nephew, Narvell Fields, when he sold her his home.
You know, when you get involved in trying to do something to cover up and to try to evade the law, somebody always gets burned. That means he was probably trying to do a scam, but so were you. Courts don't help people when they're trying to scam somebody else and saying, well, We were trying to put over a scam, but I got burned, so please help me out. I don't deal with that. Now, you have a counterclaim for harassment.
Yes. No, I can let you hear it right here.
I don't want to hear it.
Oh, okay.
What are you scheduled to be incarcerated for, sir?
For fraud.
For fraud?
Well, not really for fraud, for tax fraud. Taxing.
Tax fraud.
Right.
Is this the first time you were incarcerated?
Yes.
How long are you going to go away for?
21 months.
Well, what kind of fraud were you convicted of?
Tax fraud.
I understand that. Be
Check
specific.
frauds.
What do you mean check frauds? Explain.
Income tax check fraud.
Explain that to me.
Filing checks for people with social security number, get them a check back.
For dead people?
No, live people.
And you took the checks?
No, they took it. We split the money.
I have a feeling, sir, that you weren't terribly harassed. You understand?
No, I don't.
You don't look scared to me, is what I'm trying to say to you, sir. And if you're going to be in jail for 21 months, you don't have to worry. She's not going to hurt you.
No, I'm not worried about that.
Good, perfect. Then your counterclaim for harassment is dismissed. And you, Miss Potts, you go collect your insurance money. That's all. Case dismissed.
Parties are excused. Step out.
I'm kind of satisfied in a way because, like Judge Judy said, I still have a house that I really didn't want, and his countersuit was thrown out.
Oh, it was cool. I came here and got what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? She's a big liar. She got what she deserved. Nothing.
Don't do business with family.
And now the next case.
All parties on Lombardo versus Segarra. Step forward, please.
48-year-old male clerk Michael Lynn Lombardo is suing former friend, 44-year-old hairstylist Eli Segarra, for his share of a rental car during a vacation in Italy.
Briefly, this lawsuit is about 1/2 of a rental car, which is $139.
Yes, Your Honor.
That you claim Mr. Segarra owes you for a car that was rented by you on your credit card. While you were on a trip to Europe with Mr. Segarra, you traveled as friends. And the agreement when you traveled as friends was that you were going to split everything right down the middle. When you returned from the trip, Mr. Segarra did not reimburse you with the $139, and that's what you're suing him for.
Yes.
Mr. Segarra has some sort of a nonsense counterclaim, Mr. Segarra, because you claim that while you were on this trip with her, you sort of acted as the chauffeur and carried her luggage and stuff, and you want to be compensated for the exact same amount, $139. Is that what your counterclaim is?
Correct.
So what prompted you to travel together?
Mr. Segarra used to cut my hair. Okay. One day I was getting my hair cut. He said that he was going to Italy, and I said, "Oh, that would be my dream." And he asked me to go with him. I told him I could probably never afford it. He said that the airlines was having a special and we could get a round-trip ticket for $400. And once we got there, we would stay in youth hostels and we would split everything down the middle and it wouldn't be that expensive.
So far correct?
No. Well, first of all, I didn't invite her. She invited herself. When she heard me talking about my trip, she says that, and she makes me believe that she have never been out of a country anywhere, so far Pennsylvania. And I felt at that point that I didn't know what to say. So I figured out that I had
You agreed. You agreed to go and agreed to split everything down the middle. So it's pretty much correct.
Pretty much correct.
All right. Now, tell me about the rental car.
Okay. He called me up one day and he told me that he had put a rental car, he had reserved a rental car on his credit card. He told me that the cost of the rental car would be $242. We would pick it up in Milan and bring it to Rome at the airport. He told me that usually when he traveled he took a train to go place to place, but since there was two of us, a rental car would be affordable. I said, okay. He told me he had rented a stick shift. I told him I couldn't drive a stick shift. He said, oh, you don't have to worry about that. I can drive a stick shift and I don't mind driving. Then he said, I put the reservation on my credit card, but I'm consolidating my bills and I don't want to put anything on my card. Could you please call Hertz Rental and put it on your card? So I'm thinking, okay, this is my friend.
Okay, so you did.
So I did it. Well, we didn't get along very well, but at the end of the trip, I asked him for my money and he told me to go to hell. Okay,
Mr. Segarra, let's hear your version of the event, sir.
Well, first of all, I did not even invite her. She invited herself.
Okay, invite. We're down to car. Let's hear about the car.
Never. I told her that I was going to go to Italy, and I don't rent a car when I go to Europe. because of the European traveling by train or rail is much easier, much better. That was my first reservation in all my plans. Never had a plan on renting a car. When I called her 2 days later to find out and to explain to her how I travel and to travel cheap, I explained to her all the walking. I explained to her all the places that I stay, international hosteling for over 1 night oversleep and continue. She told me that she had a bad leg. Now, what bad leg? I don't know anything about. And I asked, what's wrong with the leg?
Excuse me. Come on.
What's wrong with her leg? She said, well, you know about my leg. I said, I don't know anything about your leg. So eventually, I said, but let me go home and I call and find out about the car rentals. She says, if I go, I need a car. That was what she said.
Just a second. Hold on. So you went home and found out about car rentals. That's what you just said to me, Mr. Segarra.
Yeah, I went and I found out because she said that she needed a car. So I went to find out how much it would cost a car because I never rent a car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Well, you could have stayed at the youth hostel. You could have said to go to wherever you want to go.
She did not want to.
It's a free country wherever you went.
If we get together, we would have to stay together.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Lynn Lombardo says her former friend, Eli Segarra, refuses to pay half of their rental car in Italy. Eli says Michael Lynn ruined his trip.
Okay, so you found out about the car.
Well, at that point, the guy says that the rate that he found, it was so cheap and so easier that he needed a number for a credit card to hold with on the no guarantee.
So that's correct. So you did, in fact, reserve the car initially on your credit card?
On my credit card, yeah.
Okay.
I called her and I let her know about what I had done.
The car. And did you tell her that you didn't want to keep it on your credit card because you were consolidating some bills?
No, exactly. I used my credit card just to hold the car, but not because I wanted to have the car.
Well,
I mean, in the credit card. I told her I don't use my credit card because I was consolidating, and my plan was not renting a car. My original plans.
Ah, okay. Did you drive the car?
I drove the car.
Okay. Was it a stick shift car?
Correct.
Did she tell you that she couldn't drive a stick shift car?
She did say that.
Now, I assume that you did not have a really fun time when you were there, Mr. Segarra. Is that right?
No.
Now, tell me about your counterclaim, sir.
When we went into the youth hosteling or international hosteling for a lodging, there was, in certain circumstances, there was non-room available for a female. And this international hosteling separates males and females.
So?
So there was not available for the ladies. So I came and I told her, I says, there's nothing for ladies, there's for males. So I would stay in the room, and then I'll take her into the local hotel. She had the money to pay for the hotel or whatever, because it was nothing for a female. So then she says that that if we would have to be together, we should have to get the room in the hotel together. And I thought that was a lot more money that was not in my budget, Your Honor.
So is what you're telling me, sir, you didn't stay in a youth hostel a couple of times because they wouldn't allow women, so you went to a hotel?
Exactly.
Is that your counterclaim?
That's my counterclaim for the expenses of the extra hotels and
Did you stay at the other hotels?
Yes, I did.
Well, you could have stayed at the youth hostel.
Exactly.
You could have stayed there, but you didn't. You could have said to go to wherever you want to go.
She did not want to.
It's a free country wherever you went.
If we get together, we would have to stay together.
Mr. Segarra, your counterclaim was ridiculous when I read it the first time. It's even more ridiculous now. She never agreed to reimburse you for the difference between the hostel and the hotel, right?
No.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want to tell you something. I don't understand how people who really don't know each other decide to travel together. It's difficult enough traveling with your mate. It's difficult enough traveling with your mate and children. It's difficult enough traveling with just your children.
It's difficult enough saying it.
I agree. It's difficult just saying it. Is absolutely right. Traveling with a stranger whose hair you do for a while, is cuckoo. In any event, you had an agreement that you would split the expenses. I find that you did, in fact, make outreach for the car. You did, in fact, initially put the car on your credit card. Seems to me that there was an implied promise that you would pay one half of the car rental, which is $139. Judgment for the plaintiff. Counterclaim is dismissed.
Your Honor, this is case number 10 on the calendar in the matter of Lyons versus Washington. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Young man, have a seat, please.
Mr. Lyons, you're really not involved in this case, so I'm going to ask you to sit down, sir. Mrs. Lyons, from what I read, you two ladies met while you were both patients in a hospital and became friends. And after you were both released from the hospital, you continued to see each other. And on one day, the defendant came to your home. According to your papers, while she was at your home, she stole a piece of jewelry from you.
Yes, a wedding ring.
What makes you think that the defendant took your ring?
She was the only one that was there. It was just her and I, and when she left, my ring left also. I put it down on the coffee table. We had left the house to go and get a pack of cigarettes for her. We stopped by and bought a bottle of wine. And we came back and we were looking through my CDs and playing music and talking, conversing. And I took my jewelry off, set it on the coffee table, took my shoes off, and went and changed into a house dress and came back. When she left, she borrowed a couple of CDs from me also.
रोहित हिलाल कमेटी ने ऐलान कर लिया कि कल ईद है रशा नसेरा रशा हमारा दामना मरी का स्कूल यार बे साड़िया मरी का स्कूल टीचर याद है यार बे पंजाब है यार बे अच्छी जरी तरह की रगले ما كان داش دا كان يشتغل ساري تعرف في جنب السلم لا خوش لا بتسوي تسجل سيام دي تو عمره طام ولا دير في ولاجي جوړ او تر مصدر مو فکر راوستل یا نو دا د اختر مونږ ول او وشول خړ زبردست خسور کې اسم پکې